Hello, people of the internet. It is I, Soul Rector, here back with more Fate Grand Order, where today we are taking on Realm of the Thanatos Impulse Traum, Section 8. If you're watching this on YouTube, that is. If you want to catch me live, and possibly whenever the next story segment comes out, see this how happen relatively quickly, then be sure to drop me a follow on Twitch so you know when I go live. For now, though, let's continue with Section 8, Idle Talk in the Dead of Night. No battles on this first of 2 arrows. Hello, who is this? Oh, it's Moriarty, isn't it? I think the image I got was fine. Sherlock Holmes is my rival. He is the light to my shadow. However, in this new role as a foreign disciple, our past rivalry is irrelevant. Only his abilities matter now. His capacity to observe, deduce, and reach the truth. I cannot have him bringing those abilities to bear here. So I planted seeds of doubt. I appeared to him and showered him in a torrent of utter nonsense. Yes, utter nonsense. But assuming my position is assured, he will no doubt lose sight of what is truly important thanks to my efforts. If Holmes means to uncover the truth, then I shall be a wall to block his progress. He'll never overcome the barrier I represent. See, it seems the foreign god thinks things through very well. It is a shame Vlad III sealed himself away with his own stakes. A powerful servant like him would have made an excellent piece on the board. Well, I suppose I'll just have to move some other pieces instead. Moriarty's being the evil mastermind he is. But what about... I just can't say... Holmes. My apologies. No matter how I try, I can't seem to get a read on this Moriarty. I don't believe he is the Singularity's master, but aside from that... What's with you? You're not usually so hedgy. Nonetheless, I've arrived at a conclusion, though one that yet remains ill-defined. And the Singularity Masters are all but meaningless. Then does that mean it's impossible to get rid of the servants here by finding and killing their master? Yes, I believe we should assume as much. Well, that's gotta be a problem. We recruited you Chaldeans because we were counting on you to do exactly that. You were. Naturally, that in no way precludes us from cooperating in a different manner. For example, we could win this war against the Revenge and Reinstatement realms. Acquire the Holy Grail sustaining those realms and cause the Singularity to collapse. Would that not be a viable option? Sure, we could actually accomplish that, but what about the numbers problem? The armies are far larger than ours. Of course, I've taken that into consideration, and I remain confident we can win. There are certainly plenty of challenges to overcome, but this situation is by no means hopeless. What do you think, sir? Right. Sir Sherlock Holmes. Yes. Please say proper human history for us. Consider it done. That being said, there are only so many things we can do at the moment. Our first few steps should be taken as a small and mobile commando unit. They will have a few other servants accompany you. There are servants beside Roland and Astolfo we're fairly sure we can trust. Thank you. That'll be a great help. It's a safe bet they'll be keeping an eye on us, too. That aside, Sancho's pretty much been running the show ever since they revealed their true identities, hasn't she? In fact, now that I think of it, she was the one who conveyed what Charles the Great was supposedly saying all the time. Guess it makes sense Sancho would be better with political stuff than Don Quixote, given his, background. Well, also, Sancho is an amalgamation of a princess and a maid, so... It'd be one thing if she was just Sancho. But the story of Don Quixote also has an imaginary princess, a deceptive maid, and a nameless duchess. Oh, well, who cares, even if things turn out badly. That's Caldea's, really Soul's problem. I'm just here to provide support, that's all. Okay, that concludes our business for today. We prepared rooms for all of you, so I invite you to relax for the rest of the day. Sure thing. Well, sir, you heard them. Sounds like it'll take more than killing a master to repair the Singularity. So it does. What shall we do? Speaking for myself, No, no, absolutely not, Sancho. I will have to stay on this throne. I still have to stay on this throne. I have a duty to uphold, no matter what anyone else says. Isn't that right? Yes, sir, if that's what you want. Alright then, I'll come up with a few possible missions for the commando unit. Good. And please, allow me to select the servant who will keep an eye on the Chaldeans. We may be low on personnel, but we're still in charge of an entire realm. There's a large population of capable servant resources to choose from. Whew. It seems we are being monitored, but it also doesn't seem like they can hear us. I can put up a light soundproofing bounded field for good measure. Want me to? If you would. Well, we've had a chance to relax and catch our breath, which is all well and good. But going forward, how sure are we that we can rely on Don Quixote instead of Charles the Great? You probably shouldn't. Right? Nonetheless, this was still the only option available. Both the Revenge Realm and the Reinstatement Realm are fully functioning autonomous societies. They have demonstrated clear hostility to all proper human history. If the Righteous Realm were similarly inclined, our goose would very well be truly cooked, as they say. Well, yes, I suppose that's true, but still. Never mind that now, Gordy. Isn't there something else you should be doing first? Yes, you're right. So I commend you on making it back alive. Well done, my boy. Thank you, sir. However, what have I told you about not getting captured in the first place? My poor heart can only take so much. I'm sorry. I gotta say, though, it really is impressive you made it back alive. Indeed, I suppose it just goes to show how luck, both good and bad, can really be a skill. I'm surprised, though, to hear you found a servant willing to betray her side and help you. You must remember, Gordolf, servants are hardly mindless puppets. We have thoughts and emotions of our own. Sometimes meeting new people can spur us into temporary grow and change. Of course, we must remember only records are sent back to the throne, and so unfortunately, we are unable to preserve these feelings and memories across summons. At any rate, who is this Seton person, anyway? You know, I never did manage to figure out that. So we never even got a glimpse of him, I see. We can return to this Mr. Sutton later. Right now we still have more pressing matters to discuss. So hey, I put together a table of everything we know about the three realms. Wanna see? Sure. Got it. I'll put it up on the screen. La 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 la. Okay. Seeing it all laid out like this, it's pretty obvious that the Righteous Realm hasn't really got anything going for it. Kind of amazing they've managed to survive this long. They must be quite skilled in battle, and let us not forget their natural defense location affords them. I expect they also have a countermeasure for servants attempting to use their spirit form to sneak in. They may be servants, but they will be easily intercepted if they are on foot, especially if they march in large numbers. Excuse me. Not to mention if one of the other factions were to attack, the remaining faction would no doubt be quick to take advantage of that opening. I doubt you planned this all out intentionally, but it's still an impressive state of affairs, all the same. Well, Holmes, the question still remains. What are you planning to do next? First of all, we should discuss this Moriarty calling himself a foreign disciple. It's safe to assume he's operating behind the scenes, while we could try to pursue him. That would not help to resolve the Singularity's root cause. Then you're going to work with this realm to help them destroy the other realms, as you said you would earlier. Indeed, I don't believe we have any choice of negotiating something else. Well, that should be fine. This isn't a lost belt, after all. Since they're the ones who started this war, they must be prepared for the consequences. But first, you gotta start off in a commando unit, right? I wonder what that'll involve. Feel like we're about to find out. Pardon me, may I come in? I'll switch the comms over to audio only. Remember, in this mode, your response will seem like a soliloquy. Sure, doors open! Thank you. I'm the Righteous Realm servant who will be part of this commando unit. Sufu! Does that mean you're... So you've heard of me. I'm the court sorcerer Emperor Qin Shi Huang sent to search for Mount Horaiv and the elixir of immortality. I see. A pleasure to make your acquaintance, Miss Zufu. Shufu. I'm Sherlock Holmes, detective, and this is... Catechism Lupus and Soul. At least that's what the secretary told me your aliases were. She even still has her U-senpai! I understand that you can't speak freely for a variety of reasons. Still, I'd be thrilled if you told me more. Anyway, so tell me. Let's just say all in good time. Ah, yes, very smooth. All that aside, 2 casters in an extra class? Weird makeup for a group. It's a long story. Lady Zufu, would it be alright if I introduce myself now? Yes, that should be fine. We probably should introduce the other servant joining this unit. Well, I can assure you I didn't forget about him or anything like that. No wonder the secretary trusts you so deeply, Lady Zufu. Shufu, you are truly greater than your stature suggests. Diarmund, one of the Knights of Fianna. I'm also known as Diarmund the Dazzling. Pleased to meet you. Diarmund! Well, it sounds like you already know who I am. I'm a little surprised. I'm not that famous. Or perhaps we met in another singularity or during a Holy Grail war. If we have, I'm afraid I have no memory of that, but here, I'll be proud to fight beside you. Work me as hard as you need for this assignment. And that's what I call a hero's hero. Beauty indeed. Come to think of it, technical advisor, you've always loved all things beautiful, haven't you? Alright, now that we've made our introductions, perhaps you can tell us about our mission. Of course. Our mission is to determine the enemy's military strength and secure an abandoned stronghold. Unfortunately, we're so low on personnel that we'll have to accomplish both in one day. I can tell the secretary is ready to run us all ragged, me included. This is going to be such a hassle. I wish I could just run away. Oh, that was a sudden depressing turn. I'm sure this is obvious, but just to be clear, I'll stick to providing rear support. The Diarmund here will lead the charge. That's right, I'll do everything in my power to escort you all to safety. Jimmy's so radiant it hurts to look at him. I still don't understand how dazzling part of him actually manifests physically. Don't worry, I promise I won't dazzle anyone while we're undercover. I guess that's too much to ask for you not to dazzle in daily life either, huh? Anyway, we'll be setting out tomorrow morning, bright and early. I recommend you all change into your spirit forms or otherwise get as much rest as you can tonight. I really hope this means Zufu, or Shufu, is able to be summoned in after this. Because I'm gonna summon her. Because I have Summer You in my Chaldea. Second arrow of Section 8 is also a no battle node. I think that this is going, like, regardless of how long Section 9 is going to be, I am going to have to stick with this because I can already feel my throat acting up, and I do want to try and stream tomorrow. Oh, something's going on. Right, it's me, Karak. Keep your voice down. I want to talk to you outside. Alright. Okay, that should do it. Are you ready, Mash? Yes, I'm here. As you requested, Da Vinci is working on the Ortonax. Director Gordov is asleep, and the night staff are all dozing off too. I'm the only member of Chaldea currently on active duty. But why did you want to talk to us alone? Just to be safe. After I woke up, I reviewed your records of everything that happened after the Russian Lost Belt, including records about the man from Chaldea. He's Dr. Roman. I know. I don't know who he is either, but we'll just have to put that aside for now. More importantly, do you remember what he said about there being someone who can't be trusted? And what Archer said afterward about someone feeling off? Something feeling off? Yeah, somewhat. I really can't believe you went and reported everything we told you when you very clearly should have kept it secret. I guess you wouldn't be you if you hadn't. You remember those records too, right, Mash? Did you ever think about who the man of Chaldea might have meant? It's all there in the report. I've given it some thought, yes, but it just seemed too far-fetched to take seriously. You're not exactly sounding like a mystery lover here, so you dropped it, just like that? Not another thought? Not at all, it was the opposite. I believe I thought about it as much and as logically as I could. But no matter how much I thought about what he said, it never made any more sense. How so? Well, if someone on Chaldea's staff can't be trusted, that would mean one of them is a traitor. But there's no evidence anyone has betrayed us, and more importantly, no motive for anyone to do so. We can call this kind of mystery a whodunit. Alright, I've heard those. Whoever told me about it also said, There's no meaning to be found in figuring out whodunits where mages are concerned, not when they can do almost anything, including things outside the natural realm. But the reason they committed a crime, the why done it, that is always meaningful. Right. And that clears everyone on Chaldea's current staff of suspicion. I can't see any reason for a member of our staff to want to wipe the earth clean. If they were just hiding their motivation, they would have tripped up a long time ago. If they didn't have any real reason to reset the earth, they wouldn't have any reason to help prevent it either. Yeah, that's true. The crime's already been committed here, so why would a traitor go on to help the organization trying to undo it? The same goes for the servants, too. That includes me, Captain Nemo, Da Vinci, and Holmes. None of us have anything to gain from Earth being wiped clean. If anything, the opposite holds true. That just leaves Sion, you, and Senpai, Master. And your alibi is airtight. You weren't even at Chaldea at the time. Senpai, of course, isn't a viable choice either. Frankly speaking, if he gave up on everything, our mission would fail at that instant. Very true. You've had those thoughts. Suppose Sion, as a member of the Atlas Institute, could see this incident differently than we do. And that, in turn, could potentially give her some kind of motive to betray us, maybe, but she's already done something that invalidates that theory. When the foreign goddess used a pseudo-black hole to destroy the Wandering Sea, Sion stayed behind at the very last second and at the very real risk to her life. If she wanted to betray us, that would have been the perfect time and place to do so. Frankly, if she had known what she was going to happen ahead of time, and then had escaped on her own, we would all be dead by now. Are you really not at all suspicious that I did something somehow? Knowing those two, they could have predicted that I'd eventually come back to Chaldea. True. But it wouldn't even make sense for you to have started this conversation if you were the traitor. Yeah, and just to be totally clear, I didn't betray anyone. Well, I guess that's not true. I did betray all of proper human history once. But I definitely don't have the guts to betray anyone holding the controls to a cover that could kill me at any time. I think you have plenty of guts, but aside from that, I agree with you. Betraying someone to save your own skin when you know that betraying them would get you killed? It doesn't make sense, no matter how you look at it. And that's not all. Me, Sol, here, the staff, and the servants, all our actions have been consistent. My case is more complex, sure, but it still checks out in the terms of consistency. Long story short, I betrayed proper human history, lost to you guys, got critically injured, recovered, and now I'm helping you guys out with restrictions on my behavior because it beats getting locked up or killed. Sure, I wasn't exactly being virtuous, but I was being consistent, yeah? That's true. In the end, I have to think the one from the Chaldea was a mistake. You do have an idea who it could be, don't you, Kadok? Senpai! I'm not sure, but I do have just one more question. I think you can answer it with a search of the library, Mash. Now, if that leads us to a clear answer, you can just forget all about it. But if it doesn't, then I think we might be onto something. I already went ahead and launched the library search system, just in case. What's your question, Kadok? It's about servants. Let's start with Da Vinci. Chaldea summoned the original Da Vinci, and her successor unit is carrying on her work in her stead. So we know that Chaldea is her summoner and that she was helping before the incineration of humanity. Nemo was summoned by Sion Altnam. At least that's what the record said. He's got some phantom and divine spirit mixed in with him, but we also know his summoning is legit. And the servant souls contracted with included you, of course, should all be fine. Kadok, you don't mean... Yeah, I do. My question about Sherlock Holmes. Who summoned him? And when and where did they do it? What do you mean? Master does more than just serve as a battery for their servant. Though through their contract, the Master serves as an anchor to keep them rooted in reality. That's the biggest reason they need Masters. Even those Masters are of no help in battles between heroes. Compared to that, Magecraft support is just a nice bonus. What about rogue servants, though? Good question. Yeah, there have been servants in other singularities who didn't belong at either Chaldea's side or the enemy's side. But it was the land itself that summoned them, using the power of the Holy Grail, which spawned the given singularity, in an attempt to put history back on its original track. Basically, rogue servants use the land as a kind of vessel, so it's no surprise they can act without a master. And of course, there were also rogue servants in some of the Lost Belts who didn't depend on the Holy Grail. Beowulf in Russia leaps to mind. Then maybe that's what happened with Holmes, too? We first met him at the Atlas Institute, so... Wait. Huh? Wait, was he in London? I don't remember him being in London. Oh, wait, no, was he? We didn't meet, but he was at the Mage Association in London? Oh, that's right. I'm sorry, I guess I wasn't thinking straight. Yes, you're right, Senpai. He himself said he left a message for us in London. That's a long ways back. In London, you managed to safely acquire the information I left at the Mage Association, right? It was just paperwork, but it must have been worth thousands of pounds to you at the time. Yeah, I don't remember that. London was a very long time ago. I could definitely see the land summoning him in London. That part makes sense. But then, how did he show up in Camelot in Shinjuku? We've asked Holmes about that. And he said that he managed to prolong his materialization and reshifted on his own. You mean like Miyamoto Musashi? No, he can't do it repeatedly like she could. He said twice was his limit, and that it came at the cost of severely weakening himself. According to him, those 2 forced reshifts effectively rendered him incapable of combat. I see, though, so that's why he did almost no fighting in Shinjuku. After Shinjuku, he and Senpai, Master, formed an official contract. That got rid of his, well, debuffs, but also made it impossible for him to reshift alone. At least that's what he said before. I see, well, that all makes sense. But still, something's still nagging at me. I can't figure out what it could be. Still, I can say this much without a doubt. Holmes, of all people, would never betray us. There's just no way. When you take all of his accomplishments, his attitude, his motivation, his motives, and everything else about him into consideration, it's obvious there's no theory that could possibly explain why he would do such a thing. I trust Holmes completely. How about you, Soul? I'm not so sure. Well, it doesn't matter either way. I'm just giving you guys some food for thought. Having said that, Soul, Mash, can you just forget about this whole discussion? This is Holmes we're talking about here. I don't want things getting awkward if you trust him, and if you start doubting him now, it's not going to take long for Sherlock frickin' Holmes to figure that out. That's easier said than done. Hit my head to make me forget. Why would I do that? I can just use a really basic spell for sealing away memories. It can only be cast if the target consents to it, though, and it comes with some restrictions. What about me? How can I forget about this discussion? There's a file in Caldea's library in the Storm Border, labeled AG134458. I hit a memory sealing spell scroll there under Alpine Goat section. All you have to do is inscribe the date and time. Okay, I'll try that. Soul, Mash, this is only a seal. It probably won't make you forget completely. Your subconscious will still remember this conversation. So if you really trust Holmes, then keep observing him and doubting him so we can put this at rest and trust him that much more. Got it? Alright, see you tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, Holmes... There was some sus thrown on Holmes at the very beginning as well, with Moriarty mentioning a traitor. There was some sus thrown Holmes' way as well. I forgot that he was in London. I had completely forgotten he was in London. And while I can see the movement from London to the Jerusalem Camelot singularity, him then moving to Shinjuku would not make sense. Not in the same jump. That's a lot to think on. A lot to ponder on. But I'm going to have to ponder on it all in between today and maybe tomorrow. I'm just checking real quick if any new banners are up yet. Does not look like it. So yeah, I'm going to have to think about this going into tomorrow's stream, because I am going to call today's stream of FGO here. So that was Section 8. For those of you watching on YouTube, be sure to tune in tomorrow for Section 9. And for just in general, thank you all so much for coming out. I do hope you enjoyed today's stream/episode. If you did, be sure to leave me some feedback in whichever way you so see fit. Drop a like, drop a sub, drop a follow, any of the like. But I do hope you all have a fantastic evening. So once more, thank you so much for coming out. I hope you enjoyed. Have a fantastic evening, everybody.